I of course look at this, and the first thing I think of is where the heck is it? You know?
Oh, like where?
Where is this place?
I was
Because geography is about place, right? It's
Yeah.
about knowing where stuff is. So when I first looked at it, I was like, where is this place? Like, how can there be an ocean? And then I was like, oh wait, there's no ocean. And we use color to create like elevation, or, you know, like blue usually means water and green usually means like forested areas. So, you know, just looking at it from that perspective. But
do you think stuff like these lines, would that be true to the scientific topography, or you think that's like a creative liberty?
Well, this could be a road. Maybe all of the lines in the, you know what I mean? Like it could be an overlay of some other thing, a road, a trail, you know, in which case it would overlap.
When I look at this work, I don't know if like this is a quote, like these lines, like, is that a real place?
Right.
Did they come up with it?
Right.
You know? Did they just use the aesthetic of topography to like create, like an artificial landscape?
Right.
We were just talking about the relationship of color to topography and how Karey's work is kind of playing with color, not as precise as the topographies, but I think bringing in a history of abstract painting and playing with that, you know, the colors and ideas. But I thought it was remarkable that you couldn't help but attribute colors to what they signify in geography. And yeah, that was really fascinating just to see the contrast, where I could just sort of like maybe let it be abstract. I also, once you explained to me, like white is the higher elevation and blue is the lower elevation, it was fun for me to start attributing that to the map.
From my art history classes in college, I remember talking about color signifying emotion from an artistic perspective.
Yeah.
And she uses a lot of greens and blues, you know, even though she's talking about, you know, sea ice melting, you know, which just seems like something that would be like a Red Banner thing, you know, like, that'd be bad.
Right.
You know,
red
like,
alerts.
Yeah, red alert.
Yeah.
Like, this is a fragile environment, but still using the colors that you would find in the environment, the blues and the greens, rather than, you know, something orange or red that would, you know, evoke some side of emotion about the fact that you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Regardless, maybe there is more intention, but there's a real looseness, I feel, to the phrases and the placement and even the color. But it's behind a backdrop of something that's very precise and very like located. Like when I saw the lines, I was like curious if you thought, do those topographical lines evoke anywhere you might be able to say, like on Earth, like?
Yeah, and when I first looked at it, I was like, I wonder where this is, like where, and so I'm trying to rack my brain, and I'm like, okay, well, it can't be anywhere near here because we don't have any topography like that around here. So I'm thinking somewhere like in the Appalachian Mountains on the East Coast, or I think of like early explorers who were making maps when they came to a place, you know, they mapped what they saw or what they explored, and then they left blankness in areas they didn't. So like the first map that ever said the word California on it made it look like an island, because they didn't know that the Gulf of California didn't go all the way up.
Didn't go all the way up.
So they made it an island, you know, because that's all they'd explored. So you have the mystery. They're like, we didn't get that far today, so we don't really know what's over there. But
this was another phrase that struck me. I have an association with this word, exhaustion, but the exhaustion. But to attribute it to a literal kind of place is it's something that is weirdly comforting. It feels like I'm like controlling this very kind of like the exhaustion, but when I couch it into a place, it makes me feel, it's like maybe my OCD-ness. I'm like, that's where it is. So I know when I feel that, it's
I can
at a real place.
It's somewhere.
It's
yeah,
real
exactly.
place.
Yeah.
Because there's
yeah.
not a literal landscape of our thoughts and
Right.
ideas. Like we just try
Right.
to put them there.
And then the idea of sea level rise and glacial melting and this vicious, fragile environment, and then looking at past worlds, like what it looked like before, and then questioning what's coming next.
Yeah.
So we've gone from this past world to an exhausted to a fragile environment. But what happens next? Like where do we go from here?
This might be too complicated for my artist brain to even like try to put together, but I was thinking like there's got to be weird ideas that scientists have that then need to get proven or they need to play with. And I was thinking about these maps, even though they're so far from accuracy in some ways, if you're playing with those signifiers, it might perhaps create an idea for, oh, maybe there could be a geography like this, or there could be a new way of describing it based on this, or it could all just be trash. It could, not that this would be trash, but like those ideas would be like, no, we can't use them at all, but just playing with the signifiers. I have to believe that happens in the sciences as well for like.
Yeah, we as humans want to try and explain the things that we don't know. Like we want to put meaning to everything. It's just part of being human.
Yeah.
So again, from a scientist's perspective, we make a hypothesis as to why something is happening. I mean, the first step of the scientific method is observation. You gotta see something, and then you're like, based on what I already know, what could be the reason why this is happening?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
It could have been like for somebody to maybe put stuff together, but then be like, wait a minute, this could be it. The Earth could be round, and we could be, circling the sun. That might have been a crazy idea.
Oh, it was a crazy idea. Those people were all taken out and hung by their toenails or something, like killed.
Yeah, but thinking about this might be a little too far from any good evidence or whatever, but if you kind of push yourself out and be like, okay, what if? And that same sort of people being like, okay, what if things are kind of leading to this idea, like maybe it is. Yeah, I don't know, it just makes me think about the sciences and the arts. I think they do cross over in this experimentation realm.
Yeah, and there was that phrase about, what comes next or something like that, So maybe this is the world after we're all gone, after the glaciers have melted and after the sea level has risen. This is what the new, this is what we could possibly be leaving behind, this whole new landscape that none of us have ever seen before because it doesn't fit our scientific model. Because science is only based on what we can observe and what we've seen in the past. That's why it's only called a theory, because it's what we know.
Right.
But if you go somewhere else, all bets are off. All things change,
That's really interesting. We have a theory of what the world will be like when all the glaciers melt and everything, but we still can't be certain.
Right. Until we observe it.
Yeah.
Not even from a scientific perspective.
Right.
It's only a theory, until it's proven. It's only hypothesis. Everything we say about sea level rise, it's just a hypothesis until it happens.
Yeah.
Wow.